All right, I think that's a good place to start. So, hi everyone. This is definitely a lot different from my normal streams I do, which are normally just video games and only half the time actually show my face. But I just wanted to try something. I wanted to try something new out, and I thought that this would be a great place to do it. And if it doesn't work, then I'll probably never do it again. But like, I don't know, it might be fun because um, so as you probably heard mention, if you've probably watched any of my streams or any of my YouTube VODs or whatever, with me talking with Zalgardis or by myself, I really like tabletop RPGs. Um, I used to play a lot of Pathfinder. Haven't been able to recently because the group I'm in, like, there's a really bad time difference and like time work and all that stuff. But I follow a lot of it, and I really enjoy it. I used to play Pathfinder. I did a little bit of. I played a little 5e. Like Pathfinder way more than 5e, honestly. I think the first I did play 4. I think the first one I ever played was like 4e. And now looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, 4e was not really a good system. At least I didn't think it was. I know people who like it, and there are reasons to like it. Fair. And then I think the first one that I ever did like long term was the Dragon Age RPG, which is like you take like 3 of these like little d6s, and that's what you roll for the stuff. And the system was fun, but I don't know if it was something that I should have that should have been done for like a long term thing. It might have been better as like more of like short term, like more small games in the like because the game got clearly broken, and like warriors were overpowered and mages were overpowered, but rogues were not really we're not really suited for stuff. But recently, because of a group I follow on YouTube called the Glass Cannon Network, who got their start in Pathfinder, but now they branched out into a bunch of different RPG systems. Recently they've been doing long-term Let's Play series, not Let's Play, actual play series called Time for Chaos, which is based off of Chaosium's 7th edition of Call of Cthulhu. And I really enjoy the Cthulhu mythos. I would say I'm more of a casual fan. I'm not like super deep into it, but I read all of Lovecraft's stuff, and I found it really interesting and really fascinating. And he had a really interesting way of writing. A lot of yikes stuff in it too. The dude had a lot of issues, but the overall, I can understand the appeal as to why people from all walks of life really appreciate and like Lovecraft's work, and why there's an entire mythology and mythos about it from like all these different writers from before and after him and all this other stuff, and why like Cthulhu is so prominent in pop culture now. It's really fascinating to me. And I thought to myself, like, I really want to get back into tabletop RPGs, and I want to really go about that stuff, but because I don't have a lot of time, we can't really do much campaigns and stuff. So, what I found out was the starter set for Call of Cthulhu 7th Edition actually has this thing in it called, well, which is basically a standalone adventure for one person to play that is like a Call of Cthulhu game, but in the style of a choose-your-own-adventure book, which I thought was really interesting. And it's this one right here that you see on screen that I also have, like, a different version of it right here. It's called Call of Cthulhu Alone Against the Flames, and it's part of a series of solo adventures that all start with alone on them, because it's meant to be played alone. And I got all of them because they all sound really fascinating, and each have its own little cool, interesting, unique setting and stuff. But this one was made specifically so that it could be so you can learn how to create characters, and it's basically meant for like a person who wants to be the keeper who is the dungeon master, the game master, the narrator of the story that the other players go through. It's basically to teach the future keeper, how the game works in terms of like making the characters and all this other stuff, and how the rules might be and everything. So I figured, I want to give this a try as like a little one-off like stream of me going through this and checking it out. I have skimmed through it. I don't really know much about the story itself, but I did skim through it, and I made sure I got the PDF version because I saw that there's a bunch of images in there, in here, and like art and maps and everything, like without like looking into things. So I want to make sure that you guys could see all that too. So that's why I made sure I got the PDF. But before that, I also got on here the character sheet, the fill-in character sheet that's going to make this a lot easier. So I'm gonna, and I also got dice, because the Call of Cthulhu dice system uses D100, so it'd be like this one, which has a bunch of little spots on it for like the 10 spot, and you get this one, but then it also has like stuff for like damage, so you got D8s, D6s, D4, and a D20. I don't really know why I'm guessing that there's like something in there was using D20, but I haven't seen it. But I like the idea of like, because I've played so much Pathfinder where even like the weaker characters are really sturdy and like hard to kill in comparison, and I like this idea of like these people going through these, like, about the fact that the players, the investigators as they're called, are always on the back foot. Like, they're not meant to be like overpowered badasses like they can be if Pulp Cthulhu makes them badasses, but even in Pulp Cthulhu, your strongest characters can still get crushed in to monsters. Like, kind of scary. So anyway, I figured let's go through this a little bit. So let's see. So we got role-playing dice, dice variation, example of play, the next steps. There's actually some really cool little art in there. This too, you get like that little bit right there. I'm gonna scroll over to this one because I actually much prefer the art for this to the one. This one definitely gives more of a vibe of what's gonna happen in this story more than the other one does. Scroll down through here. Solo adventure. And okay, it does like have, because this booklet right here that I have in front of me is same length of pages, I think, but it's like situated a little differently and the font's a little different. But anyway, I'm thinking let's go to the character creation screen because I think that's going to be the most important part right now. And I think we should begin. So, Alone Against the Flames. An introductory adventure by... Who's it by? Just want to make sure. Written by Mike Mason, Paul Fricker, and Gav Thinglis. Development and editing by Mike Mason. Lots of art. Like there's a whole bunch of people, but basically it was written by Mike Mason, Paul Fricker, and Gavin Inglis. And I'm excited to try this out. So, Alone Against the Flames. A solo introductory adventure. Let's actually quick. The sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. It's a relief to put down your heavy cases and take your hat off for a moment. Fan your face. It's been a long summer here in your hometown, yet a curiously empty one. You look across the street at the grubby butcher's shop, the grocer's with its faded awning, and the shabby tobacconist. Mistrustful faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and luggage. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. You were happy down south as a child, among Providence's white-walled houses and leafy churchyards. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Yeah, because Arkham, as far as I can tell, if Arkham is not really a place you want to be in if you're in the Cthulhu mythos world. A lot of stuff happens there. There's an entire board game called Arkham. Yet everybody you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham. Not one soul. You ask yourself one last time if you're doing the right thing. The answer is here. None of your supposed friends have come to see you off. You are alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it'll be a new life and a brave one. A small gray motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. Put your hat back on and pick up your cases. Wait, before I continue, thinking about, let's add a little bit extra ambient music. There we go. That way there's a little bit of background noise throughout. I can add a little bit more. There we go. So go to 263. Two young men with sullen expressions alight from the coach. One looks you up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he's rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. He gives it a final twist and examines you as he reaches for his matchbox. He's a thin man in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company emblem. Yet his eyes are sharp in their dark sockets. Where to? You show him your ticket for Ossipee. From there, you will connect to Rochester and Portsmouth before the coastal line to Newburyport and finally Arkham. You should be able to afford a rail ticket for at least some of the way. Otherwise, this will be the first of many long bus trips. The driver scratches the match and lights his cigarette. The end flares as he takes a draw, then he exhales and gestures to the back of the coach. Look at Drax up there. Look at your investigator sheet. At the top, you have spaces for 8 characteristics. Scare cord. Strength, constitution, power, dexterity, appearance, size, intelligence, and education. Allocate the following values among them, writing them in the large square beside each. 40, 50, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, 80. If you want more information, look for book 2. That's the book 2 of this thing, of the starter set, is basically the one that gives you like a quick rundown of a lot of the rules for Call of Cthulhu without getting into the nitty-gritty of them. When you have done that, go to page 8. Go to number 8. So, I have an 40, I have a 40, 350s, 260s, a 70, and an 80. So, how do I want to bring about my character? I just heard that my birthplace was Providence, so let's type that into Providence. That. Go he, him for the pronoun. And we'll figure out the rest of that after that. So, let's see. I think I want my 80 to be in intelligence. Okay. Actually, no. Let's put my 60 in intelligence. My 70 in education. 80 in education. I want my person to be a well-educated person. Really educated, smart. Put strength at 50. Appearance at 50. Size, constitution at 50. Size at 40. Power, dex at 70. No, let's go 60. And power at 70. No, let's switch that around. Go you. Do I want that? I want that. Let's go power at, actually, let's go with, let's switch power and con. Let's switch power and constitution. So I have a power of 50 and a constitution of 60. And as you can see, this is the type of PDF that actually fills in the other things, because I know that like they have like success, hard success, and extreme success based off of like how you roll underneath these die numbers. So I think that's a good one right now. My hit points are 10, magic points 10. We'll see how that goes from there. So let's go back to page 8 now. The driver smokes and watches as you drag your case to the back of the motor coach. The rack is set inconveniently high on the vehicle. You get a grip on the heavier case. If your size is 40, go to 23. If your size is higher than this, go to 38. My size is 40, so I shall go to number 23. You struggle for a few seconds before the driver comes up beside you and lends a hand, still puffing on a cigarette. Heavy bags for a small one, he remarks. You judge it best to respond with a simple thanks. Yeah, like, people shouldn't be talking about my height. Come on, guys. Go to 233. driver flicks his cigarette into the gutter and steps into the motor coach. Its engine coughs into life. You board, grateful that you will be the only passenger for the initial part of your trip at least. Okay, this is getting a little dramatic. Or that a little bit. That a little bit, yeah. There we go. With mixed emotions, you watch from the window as the tired avenues of your old home slip behind you, receding into the distance. For a few minutes, you can still see the church spire over the brow of a low hill. Then the road dips and it, too, is gone. Arkham is your new home. You will travel there and make a new start. Next. You'll have 2 small boxes to the right of each characteristic value. Have each one, so we already have that. I already did that. Or it already did it for me. In the strip below, you will see tracks that record sanity and magic points. The magic points are already recorded. Beginning sanity is equal to your original power, and beginning magic points are equal to the same divided by 5. So my sanity is 50. Which means that after I lose 10 of these, I go insane. Bunny Bacon. I'm here to listen in. I know of Call of Cthulhu, but haven't played it. I'll be lurking. No worries, Bunny. I hope you enjoy. This is a little bit different from your normal Call of Cthulhu because it's designed like a choose your own adventure so that one person can play it. So now we go to page 134. I can do that without accidentally reading my stuff. The coach sputters through the countryside. At first, the interior is stifling and your stomach lurches with every bend in the road. However, the driver opens his window and by switching seats, you find a spot where the breeze hits your face. You soon relax into the journey, observing the quaint little hamlets that the coach serves. A heavy-set woman boards at one settlement and gives you a polite nod. She gets off at the next one. The road rises a little, passing cornfields and orchards. The leaves are turning and the trees are alive with glorious reds and golds. You have just begun to doze when the driver takes a tight bend at the speed. That booklet seems small. Is that for the adventure? Yeah. It's like 50 pages, but it has like 270 like little mission things. This is the introductory adventure. There are alone options in this that are actually longer. Like I saw them and they have like 500-600 of these little option things in there. And if this goes over well or I liked doing this, I might try doing those at some point. But for right now, I just wanted to test it out with this, get a character going. Oh yeah, it's supposed to be like a short thing. If after this I still have a lot of time and I want to stream some more, I'll probably switch over to the game I've been streaming too. Let's see. Add size and con together, then divide that total by 10, rounding down. This is the starting value for your hit points. Okay, yep, that's 10 hit points. That should be correct. Mark it on your investigator sheet. Your current total HP may drop, but it is unlikely to exceed the starting value. You also have a luck score. Roll 3 6-sided dice. We call this 3d6. Multiply your 3d6 result by 5 to get your beginning luck score and mark it on your investigator sheet. So 2 plus 5, so 7 plus 2. So 9 times 5, so that's 45. So I have 45 luck. And I know kind of how luck works. So with luck is... where in Japan are you teaching? Did you just arrive with a new batch of ALTs? No, not with the new ALTs. I've been here for 4 years now, roughly. I'm teaching like in like Western Japan. So kind of Inaka. Like I'm like 4 or 5 hours away from Osaka. Let's see, so that's 45 luck, which I know I can spend if I want to succeed on a roll that I might fail otherwise, and I can also use it for like, oh, did I have something on me or whatever. We'll see how it's used in this. Now you must make a roll against your dex. Roll 1d100. This roll means rolling 2 10-sided dice and using one value for the 10s and one value for the unit. Yep. If you roll your dex or less, you pass the roll. If you rolled greater than your dex, you fail the roll. You may be tempted to skip such rolls and simply pretend you always pass, but Call of Cthulhu is a game of mystery and horror. The terrible disasters that can befall your character are part of the fun. You will not necessarily have more fun if you pass every roll than you would have if you failed. I mean, yeah, that's fair. I don't come to this game wanting my character to necessarily survive, but we'll see. So, a dex roll. So I have to roll below a 70 to succeed. Ooh, that is Ooh, that's actually an extreme success because I rolled a 14. So on the 10s I rolled a 10, and on the ones I rolled a 4. So that means that in total I've rolled a 4. I rolled an extreme success, which is like one of the best that you can do. So that's awesome. So I passed. Go to 261. A desperate yell awakens you. You feel yourself slide from the seat as the driver spins the wheel and the motor coach plunges off the road. You grab hold of the seat in front just in time to prevent a painful fall. The coach stops with a thump. Now you see what has happened. A Fordson tractor is stopped in the road and your driver has had to swerve to avoid this steel obstacle. He leaps from his seat into the road, unleashing a string of curses at the farmer. Take a moment to catch your breath. Perhaps you should offer assistance? But the driver has already returned. He backs the coach up a little and threads it around the tractor, glaring at the farmer. For number 71. Come on. Resume your journey. The driver takes the curves with more caution than before. He glances over his shoulder at you a couple times. Sorry about before, he says. That fellow was dumber than a hog. Silas, what's your name? The accent was at least as much Silas's fault as the farmer's, but it doesn't seem shrewd to antagonize the man while he is driving you through the middle of nowhere. Make up a name for your character and record it on your investigator sheet. You may add your age for the purposes of this adventure. Your character should probably be aged between 23 and 36. I think I'm gonna name my character... Harris Trent. Harris Trent, and his age will be 29. There we go. Perfect. So Harris Trent, age 29. The coach turns onto a narrow road which weaves uphill through woodland. Silas becomes chatty. Going to Arkham, eh? Can't say I ever heard of the place. Went to Boston once, didn't like it. Too much hustle and bustle. Got family there? Special someone waiting? The afternoon is wearing on. You see no harm in confiding in Silas about your new life. A job, eh? What's your line? Choose an occupation for your character from the following options. Antiquarian, a doctor of medicine, a journalist, a private investigator, or a professor. I think I'm gonna go with... because it sounds interesting. I think I'm gonna go with antiquarian. So go to 102. That sounds interesting. You mentioned the assistant's position you were offered at Arkham Rare Books and Maps on the strength of a recommendation by a distant friend of the family. Thinking about the treasures that must pass through that shop returns some of the excitement you felt upon receiving the letter of appointment. You feel a tingle in your palms. You cannot wait to get started. Books, eh? Silas takes the conversation no further. You get the feeling he's not much of a reader. Fair. Your credit rating is 20%. Okay, so my credit is 20. 20, not 29. 20%. Your occupation skills are appraise, art, craft, specify a particular field, history, library use, other language, spot hidden, and either one of charm, fast talk, intimidate, or persuade. You may also pick one other skill except Cthulhu Mythos as a personal specialty. Allocate the following values among these occupation skills, writing them in the large square beside each. So 70, 60, 60, 50, 50, 50, 40, 40. Ignore any starting value already mentioned on the investigator sheet. So, let's see. Appraise. Art craft. So I'll put the art craft first. Let's do illustration / drawing. Illustration / drawing. Drawing. History, library use, other language, spot hidden, and one of either charm, fast talk, intimidate, or persuade. So let's go with... So 70, 60, 60. So I have a 70, 2 60s, 3 50s, and 2 40s. Other language, specify 1, so just my own language, English, which is equal to my education, so okay, that's not bad. And then language other, so that would be Language other would be... Let's go with... Latin. Latin works. Alright, so let's go fast talk, intimidate, charm. So I think I want to put one of my 60s in history, because that makes sense for that. I'll put an appraise at 50. Let's put my spot hidden at 70. So I have a 60, a 50, and a 70. So I have 160, 2 50s, and 2 40s left. Let's do 50 for persuade, because that way because I feel like as an antiquarian, if like a treasure comes through my area that I really want, I really want to be able to persuade them pretty well to give it to me. Library use would be the other 50, because research is always useful. So I have all 3 of my 50s done, one of my 60s, a 70. So I have a 60 and 2 40s. Put one of the 40s in other language. Guessing he's not really as into the actual language aspect of the treasures. And then I got one more I can do other one I can do. Natural world. Actually, let's put that other 40 in occult. Yeah, I like that. What was the other one I had? Where's art craft? No, actually, let's put the other 40 in my art craft, and then let's put that last 60 in occult. I actually like that. I like that. There we go. There we go. All right, so that's what that is. Go to page 128. You realize Silas hasn't made a stop since the incident with the tractor. The motor coach winds its way uphill. However, your thoughts are interrupted as the road crests a ridge and you are treated to a magnificent view of the vista below. A creek snakes through the valley, breaking the rich autumn palette of the tree line. In the distance, the white mountains rise into hazy cloud. There's no settlement, not even a cabin as far as the eye can see. Birds drift through the treetops and you can just make out what might be 2 white-tailed deer lingering by the water. Perhaps you're making a mistake by moving to the city. Could you survive on your own in this lush wilderness? You have a base ability in most skills. Listed in brackets after the skill name are the investigator sheet. For instance, you have 20% in climb and a base dodge equal to half your dex. Choose 4 skills, which are not your occupation skills. These are your personal interest skills. Boost each of these by 20%. At this point, you would like to calculate 1/2 of this. Okay, so I got 4 personal interest skills that I think for that stuff. So half of dex, so my dex is currently 70, so I have a 35 in that. But I can choose 4. I can choose 4 skills that I might have something better in. Let's go 20 in archaeology. Let's go 20 in anthropology, so that'd be 21 again. Just a little bit of knowledge in that stuff. Maybe 20 in fast talk, maybe. 25. And then electric repair, fighting, brawling, navigate, natural world. Let's go to listen. Let's do one in listen as well. Okay. So these are my stats for right now, as far as I can tell. They'll be good. Go to page 144. Go to 144. The motor coach rattles on through the hills and Silas lapses into silence. The sky darkens behind you, pinks tinting the clouds as the sun descends. Finally, a welcome sight comes into view. A settlement on the crest of a hill. This doesn't look like the pictures you've seen of Ossipee, but perhaps you can persuade Silas to stop while you stretch your legs. Minutes later, a harsh stuttering from the engine interrupts your reverie. Silas frowns and rattles the gear stick. The motor coach falters in its ascent. Silas utters a curse you don't recognize and grinds his teeth, struggling at the wheel. You seem to inch up the hill until you reach the first building, low dwellings constructed from rough red stone. Silas wrestles the coach into a small bay off the road. He scrambles from his seat and makes for the engine compartment. You must now choose to make a drive auto or psychology. If you choose drive auto, you need to roll equal to or less than the skill. If you choose psychology, you need a hard success. Okay, can only do one of these. So my drive auto is 20. My psychology is 10. So I think I want to go with my drive auto. So I need to get 20 or lower. Come on, baby. 55 over 20. So nope, I fail that. Fail, go to 194. Silas opens the engine compartment and sticks his head inside. The hot metal pops and sizzles. He pokes at various components, then withdraws and wipes his brow, smearing it with dark grease. I ain't sure what's wrong. Might be the oil pressure, might be something knocked off kilter when we took that spill. Can't do much until the engine cools, neither. With the light failing, I reckon we'll be here through the night. He wipes his hand on a rag. Shadows from your surroundings are already long, and the air is chilly. You feel stiff from the journey, and a night in the rickety coach sounds unappealing. Silas sees your dismay. This here is Emberhead. Miles from any place. I only come through twice a week, but the folks here are good people. May Ledbetter keeps a spare room. She'll look after you. Up that alley, turn right, first house on the left. He scratches his cheek, looks again into the engine compartment, and spits on the ground. Meet me back here at 8 in the morning, and we'll see how we stand. So to look for May Ledbetter's house, go to 267. To ask Silas where he will spend the night, go to 251. To challenge Silas about the breakdown, go to 257. Let's ask where he's going to spend the night. 251. I feel like he's going to ditch me here. Always the setup for a horror thing. You ask about Silas's plans. He gives the engine a sour glance before answering. I've got acquaintances here in the village. Reckon one of them owes me a favor. Enough for bed and breakfast, in my case. He stares at his grubby hands. Probably won't stretch to a hot bath. You don't seem to have a lot of options. You fetch your cases from the back of the motor coach. The last thing you need is for all your worldly possessions to disappear into some stranger's hovel overnight. Go to 267. You drag your cases between the sullen buildings. You feel surprisingly wary, considering you have spent all day sitting down. Silas's directions lead you to a modest dwelling with a slate roof. A nameplate reads, Ledbetter, and underneath a sign in neat copper plate reads, Lodging Room. The lane around you is gloomy, but a lamp flickers in the window. A breeze chills your face. You're not about to begin your new life by sleeping in the street. You rap on the weather-beaten door. Back to number 4. After a moment, you hear footsteps inside the house. A bolt is drawn back, and the wooden door swings open. A figure with loose curls and rough-looking house dress appears at you. Her gaze takes in your traveling suit and your cases. Her voice has a slight Irish lilt. Hello, should I take it that you're looking for a room for the night? You inquire as to her rates, suppressing a grimace. As far as you've seen, the village does not offer you many alternatives. Oh, you'll find them very reasonable, she says. You look tired, I may. Come inside and we'll talk over a cup of tea. The Ledbetter house feels cramped with a low ceiling and simple fittings, but it is well kept and a cheerful fire crackles in the grate. The aroma of the tea is soothing and the cup warms your fingers. Have you come to Emberhead for the festival? Asks May. To explain what happened with Silas in the coach, go to 14. To ask about the festival, go to 21. Probably be best to explain to her why I'm actually here. May shakes her head, and you glimpse a moment of deep-seated anger in her green eyes. He always drives too fast. Thinks the road is made for him and him alone. He hit a mare some years back. That was a terrible thing. You should have seen the state of the coach. You'd be surprised at the damage done. She sips her tea and gazes past you into the corner of the room. With living here, though, we can't afford to antagonize the man. He's about the only link we have to the world at large, and he's not a bad soul at heart. I suppose that going the same route for 15 years makes a man careless. You have to forgive him. May goes silent for a long moment. Then her eyes flick back to you. But you didn't come here to listen to me blather, and you must be hungry. I can rustle you up a bit of stew. How would that be? You ask again about her rates, and May names a price so low you accept it without hesitation. The room is small but comfortable, and the stew dark and hearty. After dinner, you have a couple hours before your usual bedtime. Right. I forgot I need to put this in. Antiquarian, and my residence is supposed to be Arkham, even though I'm not there yet. I'm probably gonna die before I ever set foot in it. Talk to Mace some more. Go to 31. Walk around outside and get your bearings. Go to 75. Turn in early for the night. Go to 73. Let's go walk outside and get my bearings. May's brow creases when you announce your intention to take a stroll. Mind how you go, she says. Emberhead's surrounded by cliffs, and we don't have your fancy street lamps here. Take the lantern and watch a step. Outside, you see what she means. The sky is overcast, and only a few glimmers of moonlight peek from the clouds. Without the heavy lantern, you would be walking in near total darkness. You cannot hope to get a overview of the village tonight. May Street is a narrow passage hemmed in by squat, dark dwellings. At the end, however, it opens up. A wide thoroughfare leads off to your right. A crude sign names it Silbury Street. To the left, a few yards away, your light picks out the crooked posts of a simple fence, and beyond that, the ground drops away into darkness. You have a couple steps closer, but you can see nothing. Air from below cools your face. Then some instinct makes you turn around. Oh god, what am I going to see? An ink-black figure stands in the road about 20 yards behind you. It stares at you. Form the sudden impression that it will run at you and throw you over the cliff. This is unsettling. Seeing it's been spotted, the figure slips down an alley. Oh god, I am not going to deal with that at the moment, so let's go return to the safety of the Ledbetter house. I don't feel comfortable trying to confront this person right now. And also, it feels straight. And also, following horror conventions, you see that, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you just go back to a place that you think might be fine. You flee back down the narrow street, the lantern swinging in your grasp. You reach the door and pound it urgently. May is surprised to see you so soon. The air up here can tire you out if you're not used to it, she says. You glance back once before you close the door. The dark figure is standing against the wall at the end of the street, still staring at you. Or is it? The murk may be deceiving your eyes. You slide the heavy bolt into place. May is settled back into her chair. Now she blinks and yawns. I believe I'll turn in. When would you like your breakfast? Go to page 60. Go to number 60. As May stands, you hear a clunk behind you. Look over your shoulder, but all you see is a wooden door securely closed. May tuts. The young lady of the house. She'll have been listening to us. Ruth, come and greet our guest. There's a short pause, then the door creaks open. Two wide eyes peer at you from the gap between tousled hair and a rough nightgown. What do you say? The eyes blink. Pleased to meet you. Now get back to bed. The door closes again. My daughter Ruth. 10 years this summer. She's a delight and a torment all in one. Don't worry, she sleeps in with me. She'll not disturb you. Good night now. You retire to your room. It's a little chilly, but you are too tired to worry about lighting the fire. The sheets are clean, and the bed soon warms up. The silence outside is strange after living in a town for so long, but you soon drop off. Go to 154. You dream of fire in the grate, pulsating colors shimmering through the dancing tongues of flame. At first, you are tiny, almost microscopic, but they grow and grow until a kaleidoscopic inferno spills from the fireplace, spreading across the floor, up the sheets. You wake with a start. Daylight glints through the curtains. You get up and examine the grate, blinking the sleep from your eyes. It's quite cold. If you have taken any damage, you may heal 1 hit point back from your night's sleep. Well, I didn't, so that's good to know, though. Go to 166. May seems to have no running water, but has supplied some in a ceramic jug. You freshen up at the washstand and go in. She cooks a hearty breakfast and leaves you in peace to eat. At about 7:30, you are paid up, packed, and ready to go. You bid May goodbye, and she wishes you the best for your new career in Arkham. If you succeeded at a skill roll last night and wish to investigate the results further, go to 178. Otherwise, go to 192. Well, I didn't, so it's on to 192 I go. You're already tired of your heavy bags. Hopefully, Silas has repaired the motor coach and you can resume your long journey. Sourpuss he might be, but the old drivers seem to understand his vehicle well enough. Pause to check your watch, still 20 minutes early, and round the final corner. The motor coach is gone. Kind of figured that would happen. You put your bags down and search the area, trekking up and down slopes and around corners. At the edge of the village, you trace the long road back as it winds across the hills. 8 o'clock comes and goes. There's no coach to be seen. A passing villager notices your bags. Looking for the bus? I heard him take off at first light. He's due back in like 3 or 4 days. If you need a place to stay, May Bedletter rents a room. May Ledbetter rents a room, not May Ledbetter rent the words. The man raises his hat and strolls on in the village. You curse Silas under your breath. Perhaps he went for parts, but you wonder if the old goat stranded you here on purpose. I would assume so, considering what type of story Call of Cthulhu ends up being. Wouldn't be surprised if there's some monster or cult in this village. 218. May is doing laundry and looks surprised to see you again. Forgot something. When you explain the situation, she offers to store your bags while you try to arrange alternative transport. You're grateful to relinquish the load. Nobody here has anything like a car. She strokes her chin and narrows her eyes. Maybe you could find somebody with a horse and a cart for your bags. I could ask around later. Try Mr. Winters at the village hall. He'll know if anyone will. Or ask among the artisans. Their workshops are first left on Silbury Street. She reaches over and squeezes your wrist. Don't worry. I won't see you sleeping in the street, money or no money. You thank May and turn to face the village. Go to number 6. I think if I remember correctly, I saw that there's a map of the village here, so let me see if I can find that real quick. I don't know if they actually have that map in this version of it. Yes, they do. Okay, so this is the village of Emberhead, it looks like. So, we were here at... Rotate this, actually? Can I do this? Oh, I need the 7-day trial. Okay, whatever. Emberhead. So, this is where we were. I'm guessing that along here was where Silas had us going to one thing. So, this is Silbury Street. The school, the workshops, the village hall. So, we're along there. Doesn't seem like a big town. You wander the streets of Emberhead without any particular destination in mind. The village is built on a relatively flat upland with splendid views. To the north, the hazy tips of the White Mountains reach for the heavens. To the south, the sparkling waters of Lake Winnipesaukee, something like that, touch the horizon. The village itself takes less than 5 minutes to cross from edge to edge. You arrived on the winding road to the west. The only other road leads to the south, following a lower ridge of the land as it turns east. In the southwest of the village, an open grassy space borders a ruined church, its graveyard cresting the cliffs. The northeast, the 3 main thoroughfares meet at a raised black metal structure. It looms stark against the blue sky. So that's north. So we came in on the winding road to the west. So we came in through here and leaves to the south, lower ridge that turns east at some point as it goes down the ridge. There's this big black metal structure here, a school, general store, the beacon, this thing they call the beacon, the village hall, the workshop, and then this is where Ledbetter's house is. You may now ask about transport at the local general store, seek out the village hall, walk down to the lower level and check out the eastern road, examine the large metal structure, explore the church, ask for local people with their own transport needs. I think it would be wise to go to the village hall first, because that would seem the most likely place where there'd be like some sort of means of communicating to the outside. So let's go to seek out the village hall. So we go to 84. The village hall backs against a cliff at the east end of Silbury Street. It's the largest building you've seen so far in Emberhead. It is, however, locked and shuttered. You walk around it, peering through gaps in the gutters. There seems to be one large room, presumably for community meetings, and a smaller annex that serves as an office and archive. One of the windows is bricked up. Back at the main door, you can see no posted opening hours. Mr. Winters doesn't open up mornings this time of year, says a gray-garbed woman passing by. Best come back this afternoon. You ask whether the office has a telegraph. Don't know, she shrugs. Who would we call? You'll have to try again later. 25. You are beginning to get your bearings in Emberhead. Would you like to explore some more? You may choose another option from these below. Do not repeat a previous choice. Once you have tried 4 options, or before that, if you're ready to move on, go to 3. So I have 4 more options that I can choose. So there's the transport at the general store, walking down the lower level, the metal structure, church, or look for local people with their own transport needs. Go to 96. So let's go to the general store, see if that's anything. So that's our first option. The general store is on a corner beside the main road just before it plunges to the south. The shopkeeper is a brisk, immense lady with a starched apron and strong shoulders. She looks hard at your unfamiliar face. Transport? There's a motor coach comes through twice a week. Missed it? Truck brings in my supplies every second Tuesday, but he's not due until next week. She shrugs. It seems Emberhead is content to keep its distance from the outside world. You have enough money to buy 1 or 2 inexpensive everyday items here. Note them down on your investigator sheet. Remember the year is 1927. The shop stops no weapons except a dusty hunting knife, which you may purchase if you want. I will take that hunting knife, because I'm just gonna... If it has a hunting knife, I'm gonna... And it says I want it. It has it. I'm just gonna take it. So let's go back here. I have a hunting knife. I believe if I remember looking at the one thing correctly, it's hunting knife would be, or is like 1d4, I believe. There we go. For attacks, 1, close range, yeah. We're looking that stuff up. So I have a hunting knife, yay. And another thing, I'll just say I bought something there. Go to 25. Getting your bearings at Emberhead. Look for local people with their own transport needs. So go to 96. Not far from the Ledbetter house, on the north side of Silbury Street, there's an open courtyard. The rhythmic tattoo of a hammer seems to announce your approach. The courtyard is the busiest location you have yet seen in Emberhead. It is bordered by a ring of workshops. Some are brick buildings, some only rough huts. A blacksmith ceases to hammer, thrusting something red and glowing into a bucket of cold water. A weaver looks up from his loom, blinking at you for a moment before returning to his shuttle. A potter, engraver, and carpenter each work in their own space, exchanging friendly banter. You move among the artisans, chatting about their work. Eventually, you bring up the question of export. Some of them send occasional packages with Silas. Some restrict their custom entirely to villagers. You receive no suggestions about alternative transport. Make a psychology roll. Alright, my psychology is what again? It's a 10. Well, let's see. 34 over 10. Yep, I failed. Go back to 25. Oh, my stuff has been fruitless so far. So I have 2 more options, so I can go... for the same one. Eastern Road, metal structure, church. Let's go check out that Eastern Road. So walk down to the lower level and check out the Eastern Road, 115. The air is fresh, and the walk down to the lower ridge invigorating. You notice cultivated fields stretching through the lowlands around Emberhead, and among the crops, some livestock but no horses. Are you going to have to make your way onward journey on foot? Further down, on the road skirts the edge of the ridge and descends. There are a few scattered hovels here with signs of habitation. They are set a substantial distance apart. As you examine them, a door opens and an older man steps out. He wears a bedraggled suit but carries a piece of cloth which he tosses over his head like a hood. As he does this, he sees you and freezes. Make a luck roll. Luck is, I believe, 45. Nope, 70 over 45. God damn, I'm gonna be annoyed if I just fail a bunch of these. Go to 135. The strange man breaks into a run, fleeing from you along the ridge. His gait is lopsided, but his movements have a maniacal intensity. You know what? I'm gonna give chase. Fuck it. So go to 150. Let's switch over to this right now so you have Emberhead. So I'm somewhere like over here. Sounds like. You break from the road and pursue the man, feeling wild grass snatch at your feet. He sprints around a ridge, attempting to elude you behind the very rocks that support the metal structure high above. To catch the man, you must make an opposed roll with your dex versus his. The man has dex 38. He scores a hard success on a roll of 19 and under, and an extreme success on a roll of 7 and under. Make the man's dex and then make your own dex roll. Alright, so the man's dex roll is a 38. So he has a regular success. Compare your level of success and extreme success. And my success, so I have a 70 dex. So 68, so a normal success. So compare your skill level. An extreme success beats a hard success, which beats a regular normal success, which beats a failure. If there was a draw, the highest value wins. So I got a 68. No, I got a 98 under thing. God damn it, I failed! If you lose this field roll, go to AG7. Ah! You round an outcrop to find the man has disappeared. The ridge extends much further to the west, and the outer edge leads to a dangerous drop. You have lost him. You may make a hard spot hidden roll. God, I'm so bad at this, apparently. I have a 70. I need to get a 35 or under. 47. I'm going to expend 12 luck. Fuck it. I'm going to expend 12 of my luck, so now I have 33 luck. I have 33 luck now to get a hard success. Go to 95. You notice scrapes on the floorboards corresponding to the legs of the bit. What? Wait, no, that's not the one I wanted. 81. 181. There we go. Hard success. Sacrifice 12 of my luck. This is not going to go great later. Almost by accident, you discover a channel between two rocks that leads into the cliff face. The daylight is just enough to pick out a recessed chamber, and the man crouched there in silence, glaring at you. Damn you, he snarls. Haven't I been tormented enough? However, he seems a little calmer. To enter his refuge, go to 191. Let's go to enter his refuge. With wary steps, you squeeze between rocky outcrops and enter the concealed chamber, almost banging your head on the low ceiling. The man settles back against the wall and watches until you draw close. Then he slides back his hood. Make a sanity roll. If you fail, lose 1 sanity, then go to 199. So, make a sanity roll. My sanity is 50. I rolled an 11 out of 50, so that is a hard success. Alright. So I don't lose any sanity, so whatever I see on number 199 does not affect me too much. Some of the man's face remains. A strip from the side of his jaw to his right eye socket is healthy and pale, if aged, but the left side is consumed by angry scar tissue. One eye droops, hooded by melted flesh, and the nostril on that side is pulled open to leave a gaping hole. The disfigured man studies your reaction with his one good eye. Name's Arbogast. Willard Arbogast. Guess I don't need to ask what brings you to Emberhead. If you claim to have come for the festival, go to 206. If you admit that Silas has stranded you here, go to 214. I'm gonna say I got stranded here. That swollen mouth gives a little twist downwards. Son of a devil has rat's blood. His fingers tighten into a fist. Go to 221. Arbogast fixes you with a lopsided yet intense stare. You seek me out, eh? He looks up at the cave ceiling. Which one of them told you about me? Never mind, it doesn't matter. Truth is, they fear what I know. You've never come at me direct. Don't want to end up like old Arbogast. He giggles. The high-pitched sound is all the more grotesque coming from those bloated lips. Then abruptly his gaze turns to iron. Emberhead died 40 years ago, shattered by flame, consumed by the stars themselves. The ancient hill was cleansed by Inferno, and from the blackened ground came new life as in the way of all things. The Abenaki knew. Arbogast wipes his nose on his sleeve. Except none of that happened. The flames were turned away. The necessary death postponed a year and a year again, and now those up there. He stabs a scrawny finger at the ceiling. Think themselves saviors of the village. Think they can defy the great old ones. Yeah, Cthulhu! He shakes his head. With strange aeons, their lives matter less than the blink of an eye. A fierce intelligence burns in his gaze. But you suspect Arbogast may be quite insane. Should his moods change, it would not be difficult for him to seize one of those loose rocks and crack you with his skull. Oh, joy. Oh, joy, yep. So there's weird shit going on. Based off that little passage, I would say that this festival is the way that they apparently keep the flames from killing them. Like they're just delaying the inevitable, it seems like. An interesting idea. To ask Arbogast about the Abenaki, ask him about the Great Old Ones, ask him about the villagers, leave while you still can. I'm gonna ask him about the Abenaki. The Abenaki, he frowns. They knew this land and cherished it. They lived here in harmony for their allotted time. Air and earth, fire and water. They accepted every daybreak as a gift, and they trod lightly on the land. Yet we came and we ended them. Their time has passed. Now ours too must end. Arbogast runs a hand through his hair. A wide strip is missing from on the left side, displaced by scar tissue. He climbs to his feet. Go to 259. Arbogast pauses in the shadows. There's something about you, something the previous ones never had. Perhaps you can make it, though. If you want to hear more, meet me again after dark. 9 o'clock. The graveyard on the other side. He lifts a gnarled finger. Don't be followed, else I won't be there. This ain't the time of year for a showdown. Arbogast wipes his nose on his sleeve again. Go now. Their eyes are on me, and stranger, don't try to run. You'll never make it. You emerge into the sunlight, blinking and more than a little shaken. You have discovered a secret. Later tonight, the text will offer you a chance to follow up on a previous appointment. At that point, if you want to meet with Arbogast again, add 20 to your current entry number and go to that new entry. Got it. So go to 160. You turn back to the road and your core business, getting out of Emberhead and onwards to Ossipee. The ridge gives you a good viewpoint from which you can see the course of the road. It winds with the hills, disappearing into woodland for a while before emerging further on. You lose sight of it somewhere towards a second patch of woodland. By your best estimation, that is at least 6 or 7 miles distant. You see no other settlements or traffic. It may be worth taking a chance and walking. The weather is still mild, but you still need supplies before you can attempt it. So back to 25 I go. Beginning to get your bearings. So I have one more place I can go, so I can either go to the metal structure or I can explore the church. I'm actually really curious about this metal structure, so let's go to number 57. You walk up the approach, the most central of the village's major streets. It points directly at the odd metal structure. As you emerge from the shade of the nearby buildings, you are greeted by a magnificent panorama spread from the north to the southeast. The last colors of fall tint the hills in sleepy gold. The structure, by contrast, is made from uncompromising iron-singed black. It supports an immense curved platform at the level of your head. Further struts snake up to a central point. It looks like they may have been some kind of sculpture at one point, but are now twisted and melted beyond recognition. Probably some sort of weird old one statue. An older gentleman passes, looking up at you with rheumy eyes. Are you here for the festival? He asks. That's the beacon. They light it night after night. You'll be able to see it 10 miles away. He gives a little nod of satisfaction, then moves on, leaning on his walking stick. Now you notice bundles of wood tied and stacked against the buildings nearby. Perhaps this festival would be an interesting diversion, but you really must head to Arkham as soon as possible. Make a spot hidden roll. Alright. Spot hidden is 70. I'll bring back the map so you kind of have an idea of where we are. Alright, so that's a 60 under 70, so that is... Oh, no, that's a 6 under 70, so that is an extreme success. Very nice. You see it go to 69. Alright. As you walk away from the iron structure, you notice something strange about the construction of the village. All the wooden dwellings are concentrated in the west and southwest. The east and northeast, closest to the beacon, the buildings are formed from dark brick and clay. Does this mean the settlement began at the beacon and spread west? You may mark the small small box beside the spot hidden skill. Now go back to 25. So back here, spot hidden. There we go. Now to 25. You're beginning to get your bearings on the Emberhead. Would you like to explore more? I've already tried 4 options, so time to go back to number 3. Your morning exertions have left you hungry. You roam the streets of Emberhead looking for sustenance. There's nothing resembling the busy cafes of your hometown or anything that might be called a restaurant. It's beginning to look like you'll have to get supplies from the local general store when May Ledbetter comes down to street with a girl trailing in her wake. This must be Ruth. As she notices you, she races past her mother and approaches you with a smile. This is a different Ruth from the side creature before, last night. As she reaches you, she stops and stretches her arms up in celebration. She looks up into your eyes. Abruptly, the smile drops from her face and she looks several years older. Get out before the festival, she hisses. Get out! She blinks hard, then scuttles back towards her mother. May approaches, wrapping an arm around her daughter's shoulders. She smiles. How are you getting on? Have you found transport? Startled, you explain the frustrations of the situation. I tried Mr. Winters in the village hall. He's always in of an afternoon. You'll be hungry by now. Help yourself to any food in the house. The door's not locked. You glance at Ruth where she has scrolled herself behind her mother's leg. Her eyes implore you to silence. If you say nothing, go to 22. I'm gonna go do that. I don't wanna rat on this little kid. He's obviously terrified of something. How do I have left on that YouTube? Oh, it's already that 2 hours of... It already switched over to one of those. Sweet. Did my job for me. Take another drink. Especially, narrating's actually busy work. Props to people who do this for a living. You take your leave of the Ledbetters and head towards their house. The door opens easily. In the low kitchen, you make a meal from stodgy bread and leftover stew. A little window offers a view into the mountains. If you learned one thing this morning, it was that Emberhead's streets hold little to occupy the visitor from out of town. But there are still about 5 hours of daylight remaining. You could take some provisions and the bare essentials from your luggage and set out in hopes of reaching another settlement before dark. Or you could ask advice from this Mr. Winters. I feel like my character would not necessarily be still believing in Arbogast at this point, although he's interested in meeting him at 9. So I think he's going to go to the village hall. So go to number 11. Let's see. Number 11. The village hall overlooks the lower north ridge of the village. You walk along Silvery Street to find it, conscious of the oppressive black metal structure framed at the end of the road. The shutters of the hall are open, and some windows left ajar. There is no knocker, but a little bell over the entrance tinkles as you push the front door. Inside, a sturdy door to your right is marked Private. To your left, an opening leads through to a bright room. You take a few steps inside. Benches line the walls, and there are 2 notice boards mounted between the windows. To examine the notice boards, go to 17. Knock on the board, go to 24. Let's look at the notice boards. The floorboards creak beneath you as you cross the... Wait, no, that's not correct. Examine the notice boards, yeah. The floorboards creak beneath you as you cross the room. You feel a slight spring in your step. Perhaps this room is used as a gymnasium for the village children. One notice board appears to be for the adults of the community, and one for children. The former looks neglected, featuring handwritten advertisements for household items and a yellowed note about telegraph pricing. There is nothing about the festival. The children's notice board has a schedule for weekly creche services and a number of paintings obviously done by the children themselves. Most are incoherent, though colorful. As best you can tell, they depict fireworks or perhaps the tale of Joseph from the book of Genesis. One has lost a pin and hangs upside down. It shows a giant bird attacking Emberhead, or it might simply be that the artist has not yet mastered the subtleties of scale. I kind of like the idea of the bird attacking Emberhead. This place seems like a place... Also, I just noticed, yeah, I didn't notice that, like, this road goes up into the cliff from here. I thought that, like, it was just like a thing, but no, it's like this area is built on, like, a plateau. That's not creepy at all. Make a spot hidden roll. If you succeed, go to 30. If you fail, go to 37. So my spot hidden is 70. That's a 98. Fuck. God damn it. 37. The door scrapes behind you. A middle-aged, bespectacled gentleman appears in the doorway. May I help you? You explain you are visiting on May Ledbetter's recommendation. Well, I'm Clyde Winters. I'm not sure I can help you, but would you care for some coffee? I'm partial to a cup in the afternoon. He gestures to the open door behind him. This seems like a worthwhile opportunity, and you are a little thirsty. Yeah, I could go for some coffee right now. You step through the door marked private. The other side of the village hall is in marked contrast to the public space. The room is compact, lined with shelves of books and file alcoves. One corner is reserved for a tiny pantry and what is presumably a water closet. You study Mr. Winters as he fills the percolator. Although thin on top, his hair is oiled and neatly swept back. His suit is a sober affair and well-tailored, even if the cut is a little old-fashioned. A lesser man, working alone, might have loosened his bow tie for comfort. On the desk against the opposite wall, you notice what looks like a telegraph set. Ask about the telegraph immediately, or make small talk with Mr. Winters. Let's make small talk. It'd be really rude of me to just, like, go straight to it and look a little suspicious, like I'm panicking or something. The pot begins to gurgle as you exchange pleasantries with Winters. Living here? It's a trade-off, like so much in life. He looks past you at a high shelf. I could wish for access to a proper library, of course, but I know myself well enough. I'm strictly a dabbler. The city's face wrinkles in distaste. Too many people, everybody rushing and shouting. We have a special place here in Emberhead, and someone must accept responsibility for keeping it so. That was my father before me, and now the duty falls to me. He lifts his chin and straightens up. Yeah, I bet it falls to you, you're probably a cult leader, but... You are probably a cult leader, Mr. Winters, but I'm not going to say anything about that. This evening, as the sun sets, look out at the landscape around the village. We have peace up here, halfway to the stars. Are we not privileged? Is this not worth the hardships we must accept? He looks at you speculatively. It seems a good time to ask about the telegraph. Go to 56. The telegraph? Much as we value our isolation, we do need the link sometimes. You were hoping to send a message. I must apologize. The line has been down for 2 weeks. I reported the faults, but of course they're not so speedy when the problem lies in a rural area. I'm expecting a repair the day after next. I do appreciate how frustrating this must be. The coach is due in, 3 days? But I think he's going west. Perhaps you might engage a wagon. One of the farmers might. You explain that you have asked a few of the residents already, but to no avail. I'll tell you what. Winters pours you a steaming cup of coffee. The dark liquid smells rich and strong. When the repair crew arrive, I'll ask them to take you back with them. How would that be? They might want $1 or $2 to grease the wheels. Day after tomorrow? Less than ideal, but it's the first real opportunity you've had. To thank Winters and leave, go to 180. To ask about his library, go to 62. I want to ask about his library. You make a small but flattering remark about a couple of volumes on his shelves. Winters blushes with pleasure. Well, of course they're not my personal collection, they belong to the village. But I did select most of the recent items. This is the community's library, you see. I put up the private sign to stop people from wandering in from meetings in the other room. But this is really a public space. You scan the shelves. There is a sparse but respectable collection on mathematics and sciences, passable sections on art, history and art, and a shelf of literature. He has a few lowbrow novels tucked away in a corner with tatty copies of Bizarre Tales magazine. Quality does not always equate to popularity, I'm afraid. Winters gives you an apologetic smile. Take the time for some research in the library, 68. To leave while it's still light outside, go to 180. I want to do some research in the library, so let's go to 68. Because, from what I gather, in Call of Cthulhu, research and investigation is a big aspect of it, so I might as well lean into that in this. Winters is happy for you to spend the rest of the afternoon in the study and offers you an upright but comfortable chair. You have enough time to pursue one line of research in depth. So for history of the area, 74. To read about the festival, go to 81. To read something about the sciences, go to 88. To read some of the weird fiction, go to 94. Take a drink real quick first. I actually kind of am interested. I think my character, he's heard so much about this festival, and he hears about what happened with Abergast, and he kind of has an idea of, I think he can imply from what he heard from Abergast about the native peoples coming in, and then the, actual, and then us taking it. So he could obviously assume from the history that there were Native Americans here, and then white people came in and pushed them off the land, and then something happened here. So, but that ties into the festival. So I think he wants to go research this festival. Hey, Kalito, glad you can join. I'm a little further into the story, but like hopefully later on you can watch the VOD to see what you're catch up on. Essentially, I'm stranded in some random tiny village in the middle of New England of New England, and they have some weird fire festival coming up, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. So, to read about the festival, go to 81. You're not surprised to find there is no published work on Emberhead's festival. Winters pokes around and finds a cased monograph handwritten on yellowing paper by Dr. Eniolowski. An acquaintance of my father's, I believe, Winters says. The manuscript is somewhat difficult to read and you make slow progress. Eniolowski speculates that the festival has its origin in pagan rites brought over by the Celtic settlers, which celebrate the ancient festivals of Beltane, Samhain, Imbolc, and Lughnasadh. There is some discussion of the struggle between the seasons and a couple of oblique references to the alignment in Emberhead. Eniolowski suggests that the meaning of the festival slowly changed around the turn of the century. The monograph terminates mid-sentence at the end of page 28 as it begins to discuss the modern practices. You ask Winters if he has the remaining pages. No, I'm afraid those have been misplaced, he says. Perhaps they're still in the library somewhere, but... He shrugs. I must make the time for a thorough stock take. Yeah, of course the modern practices are missing. Now go to 99. Alright. The afternoon wears on. You have not quite finished your reading when Winters glances out the window and stands up. He clears his throat. Make a credit rating. Check. Credit rating, so that's 20. Oh, this ain't gonna go over well. Yep, 41 over 20. So, yep, that's a fail. But yeah, so if you succeed, go to 11. If you fail, go to 105. I'm afraid I have some errands to run before dark, so I must close the library for today. I do hope you will return tomorrow afternoon if you're so inclined. You leave the building with Winters, waiting as he locks up. You thank him for the coffee and the access to the library. He disappears off down an alley. You hope to be able to be away from the village before tomorrow afternoon, but it's good to know that there's a place you can occupy your time. Yeah, still gonna be kind of creepy though. Go to 180. Scroll. The other images in here? I'm gonna double check that real quick. No, it doesn't look it. Nope, does not look it. So the only image in here is the map of Emberhead. Just fine. 180, right. Okay, there we go. As light fades, you return to the Ledbetter house and eat a light supper. May is unusually taciturn. Ruth's eyes flick to yours several times during the meal. There's an urgency there you can't quite interpret. Afterwards, May ushers the girl into their room. You have been in Emberhead for barely one whole day, and you already feel confined by it, both geographically and socially. The evening seems to offer little. To do some stargazing, go to 131. To attempt to speak to Ruth, go to 138. If you have a previous appointment, this is the time to follow it up. So, I do have the previous appointment, and I am curious to hear what this guy has to say. So, add 20 to what I have, so that would be 200. Arbogast is not at the appointed meeting place. You give him 10 minutes, but he doesn't show. Curse the old crank and head back towards May's house. Psst. A hand snakes from a doorway and grabs your arm. You jump at the sight of that half-face glimpsed in the starlight. One of them's near, he whispers. Watching. Come with me. Go to 169. Arbogast leads you across the thoroughfares, slipping between houses. The metal structure looms at the end of the street. Silent now, he says, but the beacon will come alive tomorrow night. He ushers you into a little alcove behind the village school. Arbogast glances behind you, then sits down. Again, you feel uncomfortable in proximity to that scarred visage. One melted eye lifts. You don't have long. Understand this. I was the conduit, the interpreter, before that fool Winters in his fancy words. The things which come to Emberhead care not for words. Those idiots think this is a ritual of sacrifice. He spits on the grass. It's a ritual of control. They know the words, but they do not comprehend the forces they call. He sniffs and backs back. No, you have no time for more questions. I will teach you how to end it in the moment when all is lost. You can return to this hill and to the earth, to the death that came 40 years ago. I have tried it myself, but his head sags. I no longer have the concentration. The chant is simple. If I can teach you, but you must perform it with the clarity of mind that I have lacked for years. If you will learn this strange chant, go to 175. If you've had enough of Arbogast, go to 182. Okay, let's learn this chant. You feel very dislocated from reality as you sit on a cliff top up behind a school at night, learning a chant by rote from a madman. Arbogast is careful to teach you it in sections. He glances into the sky. Won't work right now, cloud covering the star. But he still cares not to pronounce the whole thing at once. It has a rhythmic beginning and various elaborations, but the core passage is repeated 3 times. Niglui Ilgulnaf Cthugwa Formalhaut Nglab Glabna Fiddlethagen Ya Cthuga. I'm not going to try pronouncing that correctly. I just assume that my character can pronounce that perfectly. In time, Arbogast listens to your recital and nods. Remember every sound, but never speak it if you have plans left on this earth. You have discovered a secret. If your situation ever becomes desperate enough to try Arbogast's ritual, the text will offer you the option to chant. At that point, if you want to try it, add 10 to your current entry number and go to that new entry. Got it. Arbogast leans back. It will make you one of the living... Go to 188. Oh, well, he got cut off. Something bad's happening. A black shape lunges from the dark. It wraps an arm around Arbogast's throat and drags him backwards out of the alcove. He grabs at the arm, kicking empty air. If you see the gleam of a long blade in the moonlight. Make a dodge roll. Oh boy. This ain't gonna go well. I have a 35 dodge. Oh. Oh shit. An 11. Thank God. Oh, thank God. That's a hard success, I believe. Oh, thank God. If you succeed, go to 195. 195. A second figure swings at you with some kind of blunt weapon. You shove it aside and scramble out, trying to find a more defensible position. A gurgle draws your attention. Arbogast has a hand clapped to his neck. Blood drips between the fingers and spills from his mouth. His assailant stabs again, the wet blade slicing Arbogast's wrist even as it sinks into his neck. You see faces now, low faces daubed in some kind of tarry substance, eyes gleaming with hatred. Arbogast shoves his attacker off, staggering back, more blood cascading down his arm. The old half-man has willpower. He plants his feet and raises a hand. Make a sanity roll. Okay. Let's see how this goes. 73 over 50, so yep, I fail. Go to 217. Faces loom at you, thick with blood and lit by inferno. Someone claws at you, tears at your flesh, flames dancing in his terrified eyes. You fall back. Was that the right one? Yes. Lose 1d3 sanity, so I'll use a d6 for this. So 1d3, roll the 2, so that's 1 point of sanity lost. I'm at 49 sanity now. And take 1d4 damage. 1d2 hit points of damage. I'll use the d6 again. So 1 through 3 is 1. 4 through 6 is 2. So it was 2 hit points. Ugh. Ow. Go to 45. You awake with a jolt, wrestling the blankets, ready for attack. The Ledbetter guest room is quiet, painted with morning light. There's nobody here but you. You release the blankets and wait for your heart to stop hammering. Go to 64. Ah, so they're trying to make it seem like I just had a bad dream, even though I probably have injuries. The Ledbetter kitchen is empty, although bread and eggs have been laid out for your breakfast. There's a note from May explaining that she has taken Ruth out for a few hours. If you were involved in a fight in the village last night and want to investigate the aftermath, go to 70, otherwise go to 78. Let's go check out the aftermath. You feel skittish as you approach the spot where you and Arbogast were attacked. Your memory of the encounter is shaky, but you remember one or two vivid images. At first, you think there is nothing to see, no discarded weapons or figures lying unconscious. But upon closer examination, you find sticky, congealed patches and blackened lines in the grass. If the village has a police station, you could go there, but something tells you events have gone beyond that. Yep. They have gone way beyond that. Go to 78. You make a quiet circuit of the village, pausing in unobtrusive places to watch the villagers. It's a rather busy for this time of the morning. Yawning locals stream past and forward along the roads, carrying bundles of split logs to the site of what you've heard referred to as the beacon. You see two figures already up in its superstructure, arranging the wood. The festival bonfire will be most impressive. But do you intend to stay to see it? You suspect by now that something is amiss here. While the villagers are distracted, you may do some illicit investigation. Or you may simply leave town without looking back. So you may now search May Ledbetter's bedroom, go alone to the village hall, take a closer look at the artisan's courtyard, spy on activity at the beacon, slip down the road to the east and flee for good. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I feel like there's people down there, and I don't think I have the stats to be able to overpower anyone. Also, I'm hurt. I think I'm gonna go... I'm gonna go back and check out May Ledbetter's bedroom real quick. Despite her hospitality, you do not trust May Ledbetter. You return to her house quite openly. Where else would you go? Inside the dwelling is still empty. You rap on the bedroom door and wait. Silence, you ease it open. The Ledbetter bedroom is in marked contrast to your own, neat space. Dirty clothes are piled about the floor. On a rough quilt lie school books and cheap novels. You notice a raggedy old doll discarded on the side of the bed. Make a spot hidden. Right, spot hidden is 70. 57 under 70, so go to 95. I succeeded. You notice scrapes on the floorboards corresponding to the legs of the bed. With effort, you slide the bed away. There's a rug spread beneath it, and beneath the rug, a trapdoor. You ease it open. A dark space beneath is some kind of cellar. You descend into the cellar, go to 114. If you would rather give this up, go to 120. What's in the cellar? I'm not excited for that. Also, I don't know what specific route leads me down it, but there's just a picture of a bear in here, and I don't know how you get to that point. That's very bizarre, honestly. 114. The daylight barely offers enough illumination to see, but a hot lantern during daytime would be very suspicious. You squeeze beneath the floor and glance around. Your first impression is that May keeps her junk here, where there are many boxes of different sizes piled in untidy heaps. It takes a few seconds before you realize they are all traveling trunks or suitcases. There are about 20 of them. The implication hits you hard, yet you maintain enough control to check the luggage tags. Count 8 or 9 different names before you stop. Scrambling back up to the bedroom, you close the trapdoor with trembling fingers, returning to the bed to its place. Yep. Sounds about right. Go to 120. You feel deepening unease about Emberhead and this day in particular. Once you have attempted 3 of the options below, go to 98. Otherwise, you may... So I did search Liberty, so I have 2. I can choose 2 more of these next options. So go to the village hall, Take a closer look at the Artisan's Courtyard, spy on activity at the beacon, or slip down the east road and flee for good. I don't think I'm going to do that one, because I don't think I'll get very far. So, Village Hall, Courtyard, or Beacon. Let's go to the Village Hall. See if we can sneak in while it's alone, without anyone knowing. Keeping away from the streets, you skirt the northern cliffs and approach the Village Hall from the rear. It is close to the beacon, and you will not be able to use the door unobserved. Check the windows. The one on the east side facing the beacon is bricked up. A shutter is loose on the westernmost window, and you are able to ease it open and slide inside, closing the shutters behind you. You drop into the village meeting room and pad through, passing through dim shafts of light and listening to the excited chatter of the locals from outside. The door opposite reads, Private. Hearing nothing from the other side, you turn the handle. Go to 133. The room is lined with books. In the corner is a small water closet and pantry. A quick survey of the rest of the room reveals little, so you turn to the bookcase. The dim light makes it difficult to read the spines. Is there anything useful here? Make a spot hidden roll. If you examine this bookshelf before, you may have a bonus die. So the bonus die means that I would also... So I not only would I have this 10's die, but I'd also have another 10's die as well, and I would be allowed to take the lower of the two. So, yeah, I'm going to do that. So let's do a spot hidden. God, it's like 89 and 79. But I think I need important information, so I'm going to spend another 9 points of luck. I'm down to 24 luck. Down to 24 luck. This is not going to be good later, probably. 147. God, how do I fuck that up so bad? What the actual fuck? Game. If you succeed, go to 147. You're looking along the spines when you notice how close the bookcase is to the window on the north wall. From outside, there is a solid 3 or 4 feet between the edge of the window and the wall, and the bookcase covers the wall with a bricked-up window. Further examination reveals an ingenious arrangement of slipcases physically attached to the shelves. When you pull to the left, an entire section of the bookcase swings out. The clatter of activity around the beacon seems to be building, and you flinch at every conversation that gets too close to the building door. To investigate the bookcase, go to 153. To close it and make your escape while you can, go to 120. I am curious about what this is. You squint into the darkness behind the bookcase. It is a small alcove big enough for one person and has a hidden shelf on either side. You cannot make out any titles in this light. To risk opening one of the cliffside windows a little, go to 165. To grab a few books and leave, go to 1... Kind of want to see what they are. 165. Enough light spills into the room, but you make out titles. The contents of the alcove are quite different from the wider library. The books are much older, some are handwritten, and many are in strange scripts you do not recognize. You could spend a week in here just browsing through rare volumes. Make a library use roll, and if you fail, you can make a push. And like, there's different ones and things. So if I succeed, if I fail, but if I push, and then if I fail, and then fail a push roll. So let's try to get this on the first try. So, come on, give me library use. Got a 50 in this, come on! Oh, that's not the right die. Oops. Try that again. Crack die. Ooh. 42. Okay, I can do... Okay, good. If you can see, go to 177. Most of the texts are too obscure for you to understand without an extended residency in a good library. You are drawn to a volume in a heavy slipcase embossed with a dark red triangle. Its pages are in spidery script, but the hand is neat enough that you read it with effort. It seems to be one of a set of 7 discussing elements. Here, sulfur, mercury, and salt are added to the 4 classical elements. This book concerns fire. Flicking through the pages, you see astronomical diagrams, alchemical symbols, references to Dante, and speculations on nature of damnation. Towards the end, there is a discussion of fire ceremonies, and a transcription of 2 key rituals. Call ye celestial flames, and command ye celestial flames. You might be able to memorize one, but it'll take time. Is this all nonsense, or is it worth risking discovery for? Let's see. If you may check the small box inside the library use skill. So, library use, check. To memorize Call Ye Celestial Flames, go to 197. To memorize Command Ye Celestial Flames, go to 202. Probably summon. So summoning or commanding already summoned flame. Command, I guess. Let's go to that one. Page 202. You try to commit the wording of command ye celestial flames to memory. The text is full of strange characters, and you can only make a best guess as to their pronunciation. The full chant will take 20 seconds or so. The commentary offers some advice. Turn ye not your eye from the fire, though it dost water from the heat. Commit your heart and mind in full to the path which ye intend to walk, lest ye falter in the trial. You have discovered a secret. If the situation seems right for it, the text may offer you the option to chant. At that point, if you want to try this ritual, add 50 to your current entry number and go to that new entry. So 10 from that one, 50 from the other. From this one. Now go to 207. Tempting as it is to remove the book, it is too large to conceal. You slip it back onto the shelf and ease the bookcase back into place. Immediately you hear the scratch of a key in the hall door. You sprint for the open window. Make a dex roll. Ah, God. Okay, my dex is not bad. Come on, please, for the love of God. These dice have not been great to me. Ah, 71. Fuck it. Use another luck. Another luck real quick. Gonna use another luck. I'm really good about getting, like, just there, but come on, dice. Please, work with me for once. You see, go to 213. With a burst of speed, you dart through the hall. As you hear the door open, you throw yourself through the open window. There's no time to cover your intrusion, but you think you weren't actually spotted. Go to 120. There's an English skill? Yeah, because, like, sometimes if you're looking through, like, you're looking through your own, it's, like, for your own language. If I think the way it's, like, described, basically, is, like, how you would do, like, it's, like, are you looking for specific vernacular, or maybe, like, oh, you use the English skill, and it's like, oh, I can detect that this is, like, some strange, like, dialect of English in, like, the writing or whatever. Like, there's some stuff for that, because, like, languages are a big part of the game as well. And I just picked Latin because I didn't know what else to pick for that. Where was I supposed to go? 213. No, 213 I already did, so that would be 120. You feel a deepening sense of unease about Emberhead in this day in particular. So the other two options I have are take a closer look at the Artisan's Courtyard or spy on activity at the beacon. If I go to the Artisan's Courtyard, there might be something I can grab that can, like, maybe like a horse or something that I can, like, just get the fuck out of here with. But, because now it's starting to get a little thing. Completely fails a roll, forgets English. And it's more just, like, I think it's more, like, instead of, like, completely failing, it's just, like, you don't know how to, like, interpret certain things, or maybe the text is just, like, kind of bleh, or maybe it's just your media literacy or whatever. I don't know. Like, I think the actual handbook for the game actually explains, like, how those sort of roles would work. But yeah, it is pretty funny to think of it as, like, oh, I know speak English now because I fail roll. That is pretty funny to think about. So, Artisan's Courtyard or spy on activity in the beacon. 219 or 29. I think I'm gonna go to... I think I'm going to go check on the Artisan's Courtyard. Maybe I can find something there. You approach around the back of the buildings in Emberhead's northwestern corner. By this time in the morning, you would expect activity in the Artisan's Courtyard, but the benches and anvils sit deserted. Your footsteps echo off the surrounding walls. One of the workshops is shut up and padlocked. You peek through the joints, but you can see nothing else. To try to crack the padlock, go to 225. To physically break into the locked workshop, go to 232. My locksmith skill is 1, so I'm going to try to break into it. 232. You examine the workshop. It is well constructed, but the wood has been weakened by years of sun and rain. You may be able to break it open with one fierce charge. You had better make it good, though. You can't afford to attract attention with repeated tries. Make a strength roll. Ah, come on, please, for the love of God. That's exactly a 50. Okay, sweet. Awesome. 244. You push aside the door and step inside the workshop. The air is cool against your face, and you see light glinting through the eaves. A center of the room features a raised slab with a slight slope. An indentation beneath it suggests something sits there. A basin, perhaps? Prone shapes are racked against the far wall covered with red cloth. They look human. Investigate further. You approach the red-shrouded figures, expecting them at any moment to leap up and grab you. There are 3. Each has a label hanging from its toes. Benjamin Kramer. January 19th, 1927. Abraham Hollingsworth. April 22nd, 1927. Marion Phipps. August 6th, 1927. You lift one corner of the shroud. Underneath, wrapped in tight bandages, is a thin but unmistakably human form. You are looking at 3 dead bodies. Embalmed dead bodies. Make a sanity roll. If you fail, lose 1d2 sanity points. Sanity roll. My sanity is at 49. 21. Okay, so no sanity loss. Yay. Go to 256. So, I thought you'd like a snoop. I thought you looked like a snoop. Like what you found, did you? A burly villager fills the doorway, blocking out much of the daylight. You can make out a dark apron and a thick beard. He steps forward, fist raised. Time to fight the artisan. Let's go. You struggle with the huge man. His fists come out of the darkness like hammers. Conduct close combat. Referred to pages 18 and 19. You may need to refer to page 8 to look up your damage bonus. I actually have a dagger now, so I think I do a little bit more damage. Yeah, 1d4 instead of 1d3. Let's go. You met with a higher dex acts first. You and the artisan will take 1 action each combat round. You may fight back or dodge using dodge against attacks, combat rolls, or opposed rolls. Whoever gets the best level of success wins. Artisan has a dex of 41 and a fighting brawl skill. He has 12 hit points. He will attack you every combat round. His successful hits do 1d3 plus 1d4 damage. If you have a knife, so it doesn't show that, so he has a dex of 41, so that would mean that his dodge, his thing, so I have the higher dex, so I get to go first. So I'm going to attack him with my fighting brawl. Oh boy, this is not going to go great. Each successful hit does 1d4 damage if you are unarmed. Alright, so let's go. 50. So that's a fail on that. So just misses. He's going to try to fight back. So if he exceeds on that, he like blocks my blow and hits me. But he fails on that too. So just block, the dodge. And then he's going to try to hit me back, and I'm just going to try to dodge out of the way because my fight back would not work too well for that. Okay, so I'm going to attack. He fails, 69 over 41, so he fails for that. So I'm going to try to... So I don't really even need to dodge or anything. He just fails. Actually, you know what? I'm going to fight back if that's the case. So he's failed. So if I just get a success on a 25, I can go back and just stab him. Oh, that's a 100! So I fail that bullshit. Fuck. Okay. So back to the top of the next round. I'm going to try to stab him again, because... he needs to go away, please. Okay, 12. So that is a hard success. So I have a hard success. He's going to try to fight back as well. Actually, no. He's going to try to dodge. Yeah, so he wants to dodge. So he's at 20. With the knife. 45. Nope, he does not dodge, so he can go fuck himself. I do. 4 points of damage. So I just knife him in the side. Yeah. Knife him in the side, so he's down to 8 hit points. Reduce the man to 6 points or fewer. 6 hit points or slower. So he's going to try to attack again this time. With a 44. Oof, 13. He's gonna have that. Oof. That's not going to be good. I'm going to try to dodge that. So I need a 35. So it's a regular success versus a regular success. Okay. Regular success, they battle out. What happens in, like, if it's a tie? I think it's a tie, it's the higher stat. So I think my dodge succeeds on that. So I dodge out of the way. So round 3. I'm going to try to stab him again. Nope. And he's going to try to fight back, because that would make the most sense for him in that regard. Brawl skill of 35. 35 exactly, so regular success. So, like... the way that works is, like, my miss is him basically blocking out of the way, and then he punches me. So he does 1 point of damage plus 1d3. Oof. That's 3 points of damage. Ow, ow, ow. I am not good. Misa, not good. Ow. I'm at half health already. That's not good. Alright, come on. Give me thing. One more time. One more time. He's gonna try. Oh, he's gonna attack again one more time. Absolutely misses. I'm gonna try to fight back. Come on. Come on, just give me a success and I can stab him. 40. No, that's not a success. Ah! Okay, if I can... After 3 rounds, you may attempt to circle around behind the man and escape. This requires a hard dex roll, and if you do not achieve a success on the roll, he may land another blow. Fuck it. I'm gonna try. Well, no, let's see. A dex roll, so I need a 35. 35 versus my 25 for brawl. Yeah, I'm gonna risk it. 39. Fuck it. Use 4 more points of luck. I'm running through my luck really bad. If you successfully escape, go to page 12. Go to 12. Okay. This is not looking good for me. You sidestep and slip out of the workshop. As the artisan follows, you swing the door into his face. He staggers back, a hand to his nose. You take the opportunity to flee. You can investigate further if you would like, but perhaps it would be wiser to leave town. You may check the mark on the small box beside the dodge skill. Go to 120. So dodge skill, yay! I should put that down. That's 35. What? 35. There we go. That way I don't keep forgetting it. Go to 120. Stress. You feel a deepening unease about Emberhead in this day in particular. I did 3 options, so now it's time to go to 98. You are contemplating your next move when you see one villager, a bald man with a damaged ear, watching you intently. Some instinct makes you walk in the other direction. Then you see the others ahead, and to your sides, a wary teenager, an evil-eyed matron, and a man hefting a club. They are not staring as obviously as the first, but they keep you under watch, and they are closing in. You cannot hope to overcome 4 of them at once. To try to lose them among the buildings, go to 158. To run for it, go to 164. I'm just going to try to run for it. 164. These people know their village better than you. You pick the biggest gap between them and sprint into it. They give chase. You find yourself heading for the southern road. As you approach, you see 4 villagers stationed in the middle of the road, clearly guards. You veer off towards the half-ruined church, already breathing hard. You slip inside the building through a broken window and duck under the elderly boards that slash the interior, making for the door on the other side. The door is quite intact, moldy, and locked. 2 of your pursuers climb into the church through the window. The other 2 enter by the main door. Give it up, one thumps his club into his palm. It'll go better for you if you don't resist. They close in. You are getting low on options. To give yourself up, go to 108. To try to collapse the section of the roof on them, go to 176. I'm going to try to collapse the section of the roof on them. Fuck it. Even as you spin around and look for a weak point, you know this plan is deranged. Less than 2 days ago, you were taking a coach ride to a new job, and now you're trying to demolish a church while still inside it. Under one section of a partially collapsed roof, you see a wooden pillar that is already bowed. You snatch up a piece of broken ironwork. All right, come on. And I'm gonna try to push the roll if I fail this, because fuck it. 45. I'm gonna try to push the roll. Please. 7. Fuck yes. That is a hard success. Fuck yes. Okay. If you can see, go to 189. You smash the pillar at its most distorted point. You hear a crack, so you draw back your weapon and smash it again. The pillar buckles and snaps. Thunder sounds above your head. You have a frozen moment of satisfaction as your pursuers look up in synchronized wide-eyed horror. Then the ceiling falls in. Make a luck roll. Oh no! I'm down to 19 luck. This is gonna suck, and I can't use luck on a luck roll. Fuck. 85. Nope, I fucking failed that. Go to 196. An immense weight pounds you into the stone floor. Your neck snaps even as your skull shatters. You have been killed by a collapsing church roof. It was a bold but risky plan. Why not try the adventure again? The end. So that's where the story ends, but I'm thinking, since that's not a very satisfying end of the story, how about we go back one and see what happens if I roll my luck correctly? because that's like kind of a dissatisfying end of the story, although that is a way that he can do it. So we can just make this like part 2, the alternate side of things. So if I succeed on the luck roll, I got crushed to death, but now let's try 205 this time. Because I want to see it 204. As you hoped, the body of the roof tips towards your assailants. It crashes to the ground, hiding them from view. Dust clouds billow in the air around you. You cannot see exactly what has happened, but you can hear a wail of agony. More than one, in fact. The collapse is opened a break between the stones. With delicate steps, you squeeze out of the church building. Villagers run towards the church from all directions. You crawl through the gravestones, keeping low in the overgrown grass. You head for the road. The sentries have joined the crowd at the church, and you are able to slip away down the eastern road. Go to 152. The sun is low in the sky as you head east from the village, making for the safety of the woods. The beacon breaks the horizon, imposing in silhouette. You maintain as fast a pace as you can until you reach the refuge of the tree line. Then you allow yourself to step off the road and take a breather. Almost 2 hours later, the sun sets. The darkness of the woods might be frightening, but your escape from the Emberhead has given you new resolve. You strike on into the night. Not long afterwards, you hear hooves approaching fast. 2 sets. Your heart lifts, but they're coming from behind you. Make a stealth roll. Oh no! Stealth, stealth, stealth. I have a 20 stealth. God. Let's go. 292. Nope, I fail that. 216. You press yourself against the biggest trunk you can find. 2 horses draw near, their riders holding up lanterns. Branches cast a maze of shifting shadows across you as they pass. To your dismay, the one rider pulls his horse up short. Look, there! He stabs a finger towards you. To flee into the woods, go to 229. To fight the riders, go to 235. I'm not going to try to fight them. I am not doing great, so 229. Leaves slap at your face as you flee through the murk. The lanterns come after you, swinging between the trunks. But you're unencumbered and desperate, and you outdistance them with no trouble. Eventually, you watch them disappear into another section of the woods. You hear faint curses on the air, and then they are gone for good. Go to 223. You emerge onto a hilltop and take a moment to check your bearings. The sun will set in the west behind Emberhead, so you need to head. As you look at the village several miles away now, you see the beacon ablaze, an orange glow that lights up the sky and the surrounding woodland. Smoke billows towards the heavens, where the stars form a twinkling canopy against the midnight blue for eternity. You watch the scene for a few minutes, and then turn away to continue your journey. For a moment, you are left with a strange impression. You thought that as you turned, one of the stars above the village moved. But that would be madness. Congratulations, you have survived this adventure. You may keep your investigator sheet and use it in another Call of Cthulhu scenario. If you have checkmarked the small box beside this, any skills, you have a chance to improve them through experience. The end. Okay, so this is not the actual true ending. The other one was me dying to falling stones in the church. But this was kind of like what Call of Cthulhu is kind of like. I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see any of the supernatural stuff. But would you guys be interested? But maybe I'll go through this again, creating a new character, and we can try that out at some point. I actually also have a couple other ones too that I found there that I have. Those ones are a little bit more involved, but I think this one would be fun. Actually, if someone's interested in like letting me read this for them, and I'll be like a narrator of sorts, and they can like discuss it well, I'd be down for like being kind of like a quasi keeper for this and letting them roll and make their stats and stuff, because that might be interesting to see how this would work if I had like another person that I was narrating this to or not. But we'll see. I think that this is a good place to end this though, because I thought it was fun. And maybe I'll do this again and pick another path and pick another thing, and maybe I'll try to like pick different options for stuff at a later date. But this has been Book 1, Alone Against the Flames, and I'll bring this up to the other one because I really like the artwork for this. Alone Against the Flames by Chaosium and Call of Cthulhu. A classic story apparently for their 40th anniversary starter set. Thank you for watching this. I know it was kind of a anticlimactic ending, but I think it was pretty appropriate. Like, not every end, as the books themselves also say, not every ending ends satisfactorily with you understanding what the fuck happened. And hey, I thought it was fun, and there was stressful parts. I got into a knife fight with some random dude, and I technically died, so that's the true ending. But I love the little alternative. What if my luck had actually succeeded and I hadn't spent so much of my fucking luck on getting through shit? Anyway, thank you for watching. I had fun doing this, and I have a bunch of other ones that I would love to do at some point, too. I think they're called, like, Alone Against the Tide, Alone Against the Frost, and Alone Against the Shadow. So there's 3 of those, and from what I can gather, they're longer, more involved, and actually have pre-made characters that fit into that world sort of thing. So that would be fun to check out. Thank you so much for enjoying. If you're catching the VOD after, enjoy that, and peace out.